Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you, and today I'm going to read this book to you, and it says, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's. He stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in the town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they were hanging their stockings. He snarled with a sneer, Tomorrow is Christmas, it's particular here. There he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush their toys and they'd rush their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise. Then the Who, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who's roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought the Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 50 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he had got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his fright, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat, and he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick! With his coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer and scars, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, and he took some red thread, and he tied the big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a rascal sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, Giddy up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quite snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is top number 1, the old Grinchy claws hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grins, are the first thing to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present: popguns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, chessboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who'd pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove. Then he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who. Little Cindy Lou, who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know the old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a line and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tots, the fake Santa Claus lies. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my watching, my dear. I'll fix it up there and then I'll bring it back here. And the fib for the child. Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and one speck of food that they left in the house. There was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's house, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouse. It was 1:15 dawn, all the Who's still at bed, all the Who's still snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with his presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimming, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mr. Crumpet, he rode his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh, po, po, to the Who's. He Grinch-ish lie, humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just walking up. I know just what they'll do. They'll mouth with hang open a time or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will cry a boo-hoo. That's noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused and the Grinch put his hand to the ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming, it came. So somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch was his Grinch feet, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling, how could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes or bags, and he paused 3 hours till he puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say, grew 3 sizes that day, and the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whisked with his loud through the bright morning lights, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.